I'm 20 years old and I take 20,000 brick every 8 hours in brickyard where I work.
You need bricks, you've got to make them, haven't you?
The brickyards were always something that my father used to talk to us about. Whenever he told stories, it would be about the brickyards and what mostly was fun times that he would have had with his fellow Italian people. But in the brickyards, there was people from all over the world, basically, all over the place that they used to join in together.
Indian, Bangladesh, Pakistan, West Indies, they all people work together, together in one yard, yeah?
Very good people they were, very friendly, plenty to have a laugh and a joke.
Everybody got on with everybody else.
Break time, they sit all in a very nice place to sitting, have a meal each other, yeah? Doesn't matter, somebody no bring from home to meal, they give to each other, yeah? Yeah, they give to each other.
I started in the brickyard when I was this yesterday at 15.
We didn't know everybody in the yard, but we did make friends with some people.
I used to have a lot of friends down there, Italian and German.
Because they were good workers, they were happy.
When this picture is being released, I'm 20 years old.
I had 28 years there.
I work over there for 55 years of 54 years like this.
I remember when my dad saying that when he first came here, he couldn't speak a word of English. He couldn't, it took him a long time to get used to the diet, the weather, the snow. My God, he said the snow, he'd never seen snow before.
My husband, Stanislav Frick, he worked at the Brickworks. He was doing piecework, which is a hard job, but he was rewarded in those days because she got more money, obviously.
My father worked at the brickyard, Stuartby, Marston, all the brickworks at the time. So they all moved from one to the other, to the other, to the other. I think there was abundance of jobs at the time.
My father was a German prisoner of war. He was eventually released and was allowed to work where he wanted to, and he was offered the brickyards because the prisoners of war were only allowed to work in certain places. And this was his regiment. This here is a card payment for the bicycle that he rode to work every day of his life. And he made many, many friends. He spoke many languages because he spoke Italian and Pakistani and all sorts of languages. And this is one of his best friends at the brickyards. And I can't remember his name, but he used to be invited to family affairs and they were firm friends, and some more of his... He was a blocker at brickyards. He was presented, as many were, with his gold watch when he'd done 25 years of service in 1977, and he retired in 1990. Never went home and kept Bedford as his home for the rest of his life.
I went to work in the brickyard because my parents were there. My mother was in charge of the canteen, who Marco knew, and my father worked there as well.
I was a labourer, I come with no job. But steady, this gentleman brought me in the gang, the 50 gang. And I was learn the job properly, and I was a top of it man.
Like me, too many family in that time, Italian most, yeah? Italian people coming in this country before us, yeah? And they built this country too, work in London Brick very hard.
They work very hard to build this country. And then I joined with them. I worked nearly 10 to 15 years in brickyard, work hard to build this country.
They built the houses for the workers. There was a community hall, there was a swimming pool and a school, and for their workers.
So you had the guys from poorer backgrounds, okay, or not privileged enough to stay in their countries and had to come away, whether to work or because of political reasons or whatever like that, and they came here and they provided manual labour for this country. And it's amazing that we had people from somewhere else give this work to here, to what we have now, and it's amazing. And every time I see a London brick, I think, we were part of that. We were part of this history, which is amazing.
My job was pick the bricks up. Because I was like a child, 16-year-old, they give us a small machine to pick up the bricks, to just learn it. Then after I start operating the machines, they're making bricks, they're coming on the belt, then they're going to next belt, the people, they're just waiting other end to pick up bricks, stacking.
We worked 8-hour day, but we used to get 3 hours overtime. And if we'd come back in off the road, to get that overtime we had to hide. And we used to go in and hide in the kilns. And a lot of the Italians used to hide us in them. And then they used to tell us if the management was looking for us. And then when we'd got our 3 hours overtime, we'd go and clock off. So the Italians were very good to us, very good. They were very quick to learn the English language, where we didn't learn the Italian. They picked it up very quick. No, I couldn't know. A lot of it was done by sign language, but they understood us better than we could understand them,
And the brickyards have always been part of the Italian history in Bedford. And even in Italy, they all know Bedford through the brickyards. You've got to go there to appreciate them, because the actual acreage that's on is incredible. When you go in there, you sense how enormous the place was, how big the kilns were, the fact that people used to go inside there and to get the bricks out by hand, the fact that their shoes used to melt because it was so hot in there, and just the sheer number of bricks that they would have handled in a day is just incredible. So I think people don't know that side of it. But certainly my generation will know as much as their parents would have told them about the brickyards and how they changed their lives.
We met in 1957. He'd been here for 6 years, because he'd been labouring, and part of the job he was doing in the brickyard was to paint the special colours on the bricks before they went in on the specialist bricks. We've been friends all these years.
In every country, we've got lots of people that could do the jobs, the picking of the potatoes, the breaking of stones, whatever. We've got, but after a while, those people from the countries don't want to do that anymore. So you have to have an influence of people who are the eye of the tiger, that want to do that work, who need to better themselves. And that's what builds up a country. And at the time, Great Britain needed an influx of people to do the jobs that its own people weren't doing, in the sense of were doing other things and didn't have to do those jobs anymore. So you have an influx of migrant workers, foreign people coming in, and they would do that. You'd have your brick makers, you've got the people working in the hospitals, you've got the bus drivers, you've got from working on the fields, you've got everybody coming in, filling up those gaps so that the country can become great.
I think coming here has made me realise how hard these guys worked and what kind of stamina they had, and all this came out, the human spirit, it sort of took over, how hard they worked because of their families, how much they loved us, and how much we didn't appreciate the sacrifices that made.
We were lucky at the time in the 50s that we had these people come here.
I remember him saying one time that he used to live in a house where there was 20 people. And he said 10 were working night shift and 10 were working day shift. And 10 would come in, get into bed, who've just done their night shift, and the 10 have got out of bed and are now going to work, and they're going to be swapping over the beds. And it's constantly like that. Imagine living like that for 20, 25 years. That is some sacrifice.